Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the last party I went to. So strap in and let's start this thing. So I guess people will tell you that when you start to advertise things and make them popular, it can kind of ruin the thing that you had going on. I have to admit, I may have done that. But at the same time, I may have enhanced it. I'm not sure. We went to another party a couple of weeks ago, and it was really good. It was awesome. Except it was so crowded. My problem is that when the organizers get 4 beds for play, it tends to limit the number of people who can play. And when the number of people grows exponentially because everybody wants to attend a party, all of the sudden you have this situation where there's just no place to play. I went to a couple of parties where this took place, but recently the Evening Endeavors party was right there at the cusp. Now, I had been invited by the host to come early so that I could be the starting point. There was one other couple that was there that was planning to do some content, and they arrived early, and they, of course, got started because during the party, you're not really supposed to film. And because of the fact that it had worked out so well last time, they had asked me to come early and get started as well. Now, one of the gentlemen that I play with often, Jay, listener, shout out. Hey there. One of the gentlemen that I play with, it was his birthday the day before. And so I dressed in red because it was his favorite color. I wore a red slinky dress and red high heels. And I baked him cookies because I am ever so sweet. So it all ended up, he arrived, I wished him a happy birthday, and then I showed him how happy I was that it was his birthday. He was the person that I basically started the party off with. Jay and I went into the bedroom, and he likes to keep me right at the edge of the bed. So instead of building a lake, we build waterfalls. Fucking come falls is what I like to call them. So he literally just started me, and he is a BBC, and he is very talented, and he really did get that party started for me. I was coming so hard, and I was loving every second of it. The other couple was in the room, and unfortunately, I think they may have recorded me at least volume bombing their content because I was not being quiet. And of course, when I'm not quiet, I'm also talking and telling jokes and being funny. And it's, I can only imagine what their content came out like. Now, I do think that they actually caught me on camera a little bit, but who am I to complain? It's not like I'm shy about the cameras, right? Then, let me see. After Jay fucked me for a while, it's really difficult to figure out how to transition to the next person if they're not just lined up there. So I was trying to locate my robe, and I was calling for my husband, and he brought my robe for me. And then just as I got my robe on, another gentleman approached me. And I'm like, okay, so here we go. So Brian approached me next, and oh my God, he was huge, and he was powerful, and he was demanding, and he wanted to own that pussy. And he brought every tool to the fore. He fucked me from behind. I'm doggy style, bent over on the bed. He's standing beside the bed so he can get power stroke going on. It was incredible. Then Tim came in, and he was also, the thing about different dicks is they hit differently. So you can have someone who's basically the same size and length but maybe curves a little bit, and it is amazing what that shift will do. What just that little variation will create. And it keeps my pussy guessing all the time. I really at some point could not tell who was behind me, and that was in itself very freaking hot. I ended up putting on my robe and leaving my spot that I had basically baptized as my own with loads of cum. And as soon as I moved off the spot, it got swarmed, and that spot was no more. So when I arrived at this party, there were, I'm sorry, I'm counting, I think 5 girls there already. And then I think 5 to 7 more showed up. I don't count the men at a party because the men at a party, they can filter, flip around, do whatever. It's the women who need to find a place to be horizontal or vertical or whatever position, but you've got to find space to do it. And so that many women made 4 beds, and we're not small women. So possibly 2 to a bed, but even that's kind of pushing it, depending on which way we all lay. So there was not space. And for a while, we wandered around like nomads looking for a place to lay down. I had a gentleman who very much wanted to fuck me, but we couldn't find a space. I wanted to fuck Jeff, but of course, we couldn't find space. Because, of course, Jeff was there. And I love me some Jeff. So, Jeff, the one room had to get cleaned. So, that was a real quick turnover job. But as soon as that was done, Jeff took our friend, we'll call her B, into the room. And I went into the room with another gentleman who gave me the fake name of Romeo. I was standing at the end of the bed that B and Jeff were on, and they were fucking, and I was facing them, and Romeo was behind me. And he was fucking me so good that I was coming, but he was filling me so completely full that my cum could not escape. And I don't come a little bit, I come a lot. And so at one point, I actually pretty much halted the party because I was yelling at him, get out, get out, get out. And everybody thought I was in crisis. But what I really wanted him to do was pull his dick out so it could relieve some of the pressure of this fluid that's building up inside my vagina. So he finally lets me go. He finally pulls out, and it flooded everything. I was so relieved. It was awesome. But when he stuck his cock back in me. Jeff leaned over and whispered in my ear what a good girl I was, taking that cock. Such a good girl. I swear to God, it was like, oh, it was so good. Oh my God. Um, yeah, I won't go into all of the things, but oh my God, it gives me chills thinking about it now. So after a while, we stopped and I ended up back in the front room because, again, as soon as I moved, there was like, ah. So I was talking to this lovely young lady who was very interested in my breasts. I was very interested in hers. We were having such a good time with each other. And then I ended up on the other bed in the second room with a guy named Brian. And I do not know what Brian had been watching. I do not know what Brian had been doing, but he was ready to go. And it did not take him long to get there. It was so hot. He crumbled like a wall and it was fucking amazing. I know that everybody's like, ah, you need to last a long time. Sometimes it's so fucking hot when they don't. When they have reached the point where their brain is on fire, their balls are on fire, and they are ramming their cock into you, and the only thing they can think of is the freight train that's coming. It was hot. So then I ended up back in the front room, chit-chatting away, when Alex sat down next to me. Now, my husband had actually departed the party because it was way too crowded and he was feeling very claustrophobic. There was no good place for him to stand. So he'd actually gone back to a hotel room in the same place that we had rented so that he would have that escape mechanism. So I ended up back on the first bed in the second room with Alex. And Dee's next to me, and she's playing with my breasts while Alex is fucking me into dehydration and submission. I cannot even explain to you what this man was doing to my G spot. It was torrential. It was national FEMA disaster level flooding that was happening in that bed. That man fucked every one of my organs out of place. And it was amazing because Dee was there the entire time, fondling my breasts, playing with my piercings, touching me, kissing me. And for some reason, Dee and I playing with each other's breasts brought a crowd. I mean, who knew? The night was amazing. And despite the overcrowding, I ended up having to stay longer so I could play with enough people to make it a great night. I was very disappointed that my husband couldn't be there in the room with me for the majority of my evening. But I went back to our hotel room, dripping wet, back in my slinky red dress, and he fucked me like he had not seen me in a year. That whole reclamation process was outstanding. And he fed me, which, let's be honest, I could have used the calories at that point. It was a really, really great night. And the problem with overcrowding, we're going to just have to get through it. I want to talk about a very taboo subject, religion. But I don't want to talk about religion in a debating kind of way. I want to talk about religion in the way that it affects people and their kink life. Religion is a set of rules that are brought together to create community. And in those set of rules, most religions preach that sex in some way is bad or taboo or restricted. You are not supposed to engage in premarital sex. You're not supposed to engage in homosexual sex. You're not supposed to engage in a lot of different kinds of sex. Anal sex, I believe, is also considered very taboo. Now, in religion, sex in these forms is a sin. The wages of sin is death. This breeds fear, and as I may have mentioned, fear breeds fetish. Fetish breeds kink. Being alone in kink breeds shame. Being alone in your shame takes you back to religion. There's a reason why so many religious leaders are caught in sex scandals. Because we cannot control how our mind chooses to deal with our fears. And causing fetish, causing kink, leading to shame, just builds a cyclone that is obviously inescapable. The thing is, religion's not bad. If religion is for you, I am all for it. But cut yourself a break. Realize that you are not wrong for having fantasies. You are not wrong for enjoying kink. You are not wrong for these things because your brain is developed and hardwired to protect you from things you're afraid of. And if somebody is making you afraid of something, this is how your brain is going to deal with it. I come from a very religious background, which I know is where a lot of my personal kink comes from. I understand the cycle probably better than most people because of my history. Religion is not bad, but neither is sex. You may want to have some moral rules regarding how you interact with sex, and that's absolutely fine. You can be moralistic and kinky at the same time. These are not mutually exclusive states of being. The way to stop the cycle is to address your kinks. Be honest about them, even if it's just to yourself. Walk yourself through, what is this kink giving me that is quelling an anxiety that I have either been given or that I have naturally. There's a reason why so many religious leaders are caught up in sex scandals. They wouldn't even be scandals if these people were not preaching a certain lifestyle and then turning around and doing the opposite. The scandal is not the act of the sex. The scandal is the hypocrisy of the sex. And that's kind of where you need to be seeking asylum from. Sex is not the issue. Sex is technically not even a sin. On the list of the 10, the only one that even mentions sex is adultery. And how adultery is defined is cheating with someone else's spouse. But how is cheating defined? In my personal relationship, it's not cheating if the husband is watching. In my relationship, caring is sharing. Sharing is not a sin. My personal relationship and adultery are defined how you want them to be defined. There is nothing in the Bible that says sex is inherently bad. Sex is evil. It's not. Lying, now that's a sin. So take from that what you will, and just realize that you're not the only one who's faced a conservative religious background and found yourself smack dab in the middle of a kink trying to relegate the two philosophies. Okay, so today's question comes from Onyx. Would you mind sharing how the conversation first bull run session came about with you and your husband? Okay, so I kind of feel like I may have gone over this, but it never hurts to talk about things more than once. Trust me. All right, so my first bull session, I was still very unsure of what was going to happen emotionally with my husband. We had talked about, we had gone to swinger parties and it had not been the right time. So when the topic came back up of me being with another man, my husband was a lot more convincing, a lot more adamant that he wanted this for me, for our relationship, for him. He was very articulate in what he wanted. So the conversation happened like most conversations happen. Somebody says something that sparks a response, and then all of a sudden you're deep into a conversation that was probably a necessary conversation to be having for a very long time. And here you are. You are knee deep in, what is this going to do to our marriage if I go out and sleep with this man? If I go out and sleep with a man that I have found to be interested in me, what is that going to do to our marriage? And his response, I don't know, but I really want to find out. And I think that's the most important thing. Yes, things are going to happen that are going to hit you emotionally wrong, hit you emotionally hard. But as long as you are curious, as long as you are, I'd like to find out what this particular kink means to me, what this particular kink will do to our marriage, what this particular kink will give to you. As long as you are seeking, you can find your boundaries pretty quickly. My first time with a bull was one of the episodes that I did, but I had found an old friend who I had met through work, and I had the conversation with my husband. I did not know how he was going to react emotionally that first time, and I did not want him to see it if he was going to react badly, because I did not want to put the image in his head of what truly took place if he was not going to actually be able to handle it emotionally. I wanted to give him some respite in case we tried to work through our marriage after this happened. And I wanted to give him that lack of full knowledge, just in case. And when he reacted well, that led to, I actually want to be there. And that led to, I need to be there. Every time you have a session, your first one, I need to be there. That was a conversation that me and my husband went over and over and over and over again about. What were the rules of engagement? What was a boundary? How did our boundaries adapt and change? Because that first time, I did not want him there. I did not want to be in a room with a man who wasn't able to cope with whatever it was that was going on while I was engaging in the betrayal that was leading to his emotional issues. The fact that we started out baby stepping our way through this, and now each turn of the dial, each click up in intensity has created different rules, has created different opportunities, has created a different mindset that we both have adapted to. I don't know if that was the answer to your question, but I can tell you the conversation started out with something innocuous said that led to, I really do want to see you with other men, which led to, let me see if I can find a guy, that led to, you found the guy, this is how we're going to engage the first time, which led to, you've engaged, now let's discuss what this means. And moving forward, this is how we're going to engage in the future. I'm grateful that I have a husband who's willing to talk to me about the things going on in his head. And I'm very grateful that I have a husband who's willing to listen to the things that are going on inside of my head. That's the most important part of any of this, is listening, staying curious, and of course, being consensual. Doing something that's right for all the parties involved, not taking it upon yourself to do the thing that's right for just you, no matter what it does to your partner.